2024 has come to a close, so we count down our top 3 games of the year, plus some honorable mentions. The holiday break had us playing tons as Kat started her Dragon Age full series quest, Joelle samples Metaphor ReFantazio, and Leah becomes a magical girl in Infinity Nikki. Plus, we prepare for the 2025 Fantasy Critic draft. All of this and more in this week's GoGCast. Let's go.
Get ready for the Girls on Games podcast, your weekly dose of news, reviews, and everything video games. Always served with a good helping of hype and just a pinch of salt. And now, your host, Leah.
Hello and welcome to another Girls on Games podcast. My name is Leah. I'm the host of the show. This is episode number 477, and Happy New Year, everybody. We're back. 2025 is here. We had a holiday break, and I'm curious to see what the ladies were up to and how many games they were playing. Catherine, how you doing?
I'm good. Yourself? Happy New Year.
Thank you. And happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yes, it is. As we're recording this on Monday, Tuesday will be my 40th birthday.
Yay!
Bon anniversaire.
Welcome to the 40 crew.
Thank you. Now I have a reason for my back to hurt.
Yep. Joelle, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You know, I logged into work and I didn't forget my password, and I felt a little sad that I still remembered everything.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I worked on the 2nd and the 3rd and from home, and there was a few other people working, but not very many. And it was kind of nice to be like, what's my job again?
Yeah.
And not have anybody like at me and be like, yeah, I can remember how to do my job after 2 weeks off. That's true. And we can remember how to podcast. Let's get through some housekeeping before we get into the crew check-in. If you enjoy this show, you can subscribe. We're available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. If you'd like to get some GOG merch, you can do that by going to designbyhumans.com/shop/girlsongames. Maybe you'd like to give us a tip, maybe buy us a coffee. You can do that by going to our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/girlsongames. Ladies, holiday break was relaxing. I played a lot of games. We'll get into that in a bit. But did you get any video game presents or pick up anything on Boxing Day sale, video game related?
That's a good question.
No.
No, I got my computer part bundle early in the year.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I borrowed a game from a friend, which I'll talk about later. So I don't think I bought anything officially.
I did it before Christmas.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because Pascal left his controller plugged into the Xbox while the Roomba ran, and it flew across the room, and he broke his controller. Yes. And why was it plugged in, you ask? Because he had upgraded to an 8-bit DOE controller with the Hall effect. Yeah, Hall effect joysticks, right? So that they don't drift or they don't break.
Did he kill it, though, when it get thrown across the room?
He killed one of the joystick. I was Googling to see if I could fix it, whatever. Ended up buying a new one, and I got one for myself as well. Because my bright electric one is starting to get drift, like I was playing, and if I would let my controller go, suddenly my rook would start slowly walking forward, and I was like, I am not holding the controller right now.
Oh my gosh.
And the battery pack inside is starting to go. The only downside is if you want wireless controllers on consoles, you have to get the Xbox first party ones. All the second party are only wired on console. Mm-hmm. But they come with a very long wire. There's only one port on the console. Doesn't matter. We don't play multiplayer or couch co-op on Xbox all that much. So that's it. I got the 8-bit DOE I don't know what it's called. It's an official Xbox controller, but I'm currently using it at my computer for work and for when I play on PC. And I will soon replace my controller there. But I got those like in November.
Okay.
Because it was a bit of a necessity.
Yeah, that happens.
Yes. But we didn't, as far as sales and shopping and everything, we just got stuff. Adult stuff. And
That
like,
works.
my mom was like, what you want for your birthday? And I was like, I need linen for the bedroom because they're all ripped up and old. And she was like, how exciting. I'm like, you asked.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. They're like, what do you want? And I'm like, pans. I really want new pans. Oh, is that it? It's like, well, yeah, I'm asking you because that's what I really want. I'm going to be excited to get pans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting older when.
But the most clutch story ever, okay? Again, not GOG not game related, but GOG related because it's food.
Okay.
I was hanging out in my brother's kitchen as I do every Christmas. He has like a fancy automatic coffee machine that frosts the milk and everything, just pulls out a latte for you. Amazing. Talk about kitchen gadgets. I'm like, I'm thinking about getting like a hand mixer because it's always like trouble to take out the big stand mixer. And sometimes you just need to mix something quickly. And I'm like, and my friend has an immersion blender and I put my Vitamix through the ringer and she said maybe just get a hand mixer for the hot stuff so you don't ruin your jug as fast. And he just goes, hey, wait a second, goes downstairs, hand me a box and says, happy birthday. He had bought a Philips immersion blender that has a whisk attachment.
That is sick.
And a small like food pulverizer attachment, like that chops and purees food, like almost like a small magic bullet. And he said he bought it on a whim from Amazon during a sale, and his spouse was like, "We're never going to use this," and then they didn't use it.
Wow.
The box was unopened, and he had missed the window to send it back. I think they were just going to sell it on Marketplace. So, shout out to my brother.
That's fantastic.
So now I was like, because I was going to tell my mom, I want these silly gadgets. Like, I can go to Canadian Tire, buy them, and send you the bill. Or you can buy me like a gift because she lives far away. But my brother decided to pawn on me this unused purchase of his. And I was ecstatic. I've used it. I used a little tiny food processor to pulverize some garlic and some onions to make a marinade. It was amazing. I used the immersion blender function to make a quick sauce. And I am in love.
Yeah, isn't your life changed? It's changed.
Honestly, yes. It's just like...
You're a different cat now.
Yes. I think like I look and stop a lot to think about, hey, do I need these pants? Do I need this controller? Do I really need to buy this game? Maybe I can wait for it to be on Game Pass. But like, my friends and family are like, you cook so much. Why do you have this attitude to buying stuff for the kitchen? Just buy them. And then my brother was just like, here you go. And I was like, thank you. As he was pushing buttons in his coffee machine for it to just spit out a latte for me so that we're highly caffeinated so we can make Christmas dinner together. And that was my most clutch moment of the holidays. Not gaming related, 100%, but GOG related because it's food.
Definitely GOG related because we definitely love food here.
But
that's
definitely, yeah, Joelle, you were right, and my friend Uva was right. I needed an immersion blender in my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Joelle, you get those pants.
I did. I got my pants. So happy. I'm so happy I got the pans. I like the made-in pans, and I like the non-stick ones. I have one stainless steel, and I just think stainless steel on an electric glass top burner, I don't know, it just doesn't It's I don't know. They're good. Like they're really good pans. I really like them, but I don't know, for that type of style, it just always doesn't seem to work out for me. So I wanted the 5-quart, high walled, almost like a wok, like a deep, a deep pan. And I use it all the time. I love it so much. It's so big. That's what she said. But I really, I really like it a lot. So I got that, and then I got. They also have these silicone covers that you can place in the pan to protect the non-stick ceramic surface. So I got some of those too, which are really nice, so that I can not worry about scratching up my pan. So hopefully it'll help with the life of the pans. So
nice.
So yeah, that was pretty. I was like, this is amazing. So, but yeah, that's really kind of all I did. I also, I will say another food related thing that's not game related, to jump off of Kat, is my friend got an 80-year-old sourdough starter from her neighbor.
80? 80?
80.
Damn.
Yeah. And she had never made sourdough before. And I was like, well, I'll teach you if you give me some of that starter, because I want it. And so she did. She ended up giving me a little bit of it. And I think I made about, I'm not joking, I think I baked 10 loaves of sourdough over the course of 4 days. I made so much bread. And I hadn't really made sourdough in a hot minute, and I just was so excited to use it, and so I just went to town, and
you fed it, used it, refed it.
Yep. Yeah, within consecutively. And also I was on break, so I didn't have to go to work, I didn't have to get ready for work, so I would just get up and feed it and then go to the gym, and in 4 hours, how I was feeding it in 4 hours, it was ready. So, it does take all day to prep, and then I bake the next day. But then as I baked the next day, I just prepped the dough, or prepped the starter and did it all again. And I have so much bread now, but I'm so excited. It's so good. I can tell a difference with this 80-year-old starter versus my 2-year-old starter. I can tell a flavor difference, and I can tell a the smell of it. I don't know. It is fascinating. It's fascinating, but I can. So I'm really excited. So,
how did your neighbor
about? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Kat.
No, but how did your neighbor came to be the proprietor of this, or the inheritor of this sourdough starter? The person couldn't take care of it anymore?
No, I think that she recently moved into a neighborhood, and I think they're one of the younger couples on the block. And my friend is very friendly. And I think she just got to chatting, and she was saying how she wanted to learn how to do sourdough. And she asked me, and I said, well, I really think that you should try doing your own starter, because I think that really helps set you up for understanding how the leaven works to bake the loaves. But doing a starter can take a week. And so I think we were talking about it, and she must have told her neighbor. Her neighbor was like, I have this 80-year-old starter. And so she gifted her some of that. And then she gave some to me. Because once you feed it and it's growing, you can just, you can scoop it and give it to out other people, and that just continues to grow and spread. So, yeah, so it's alive. I've been feeding it, even if I haven't been baking, not too much, but yeah, it's sitting in the microwave. I named him Old Man Hank. Old Man Hank is producing. He's a trooper. So
I love that. Yeah. We got cookware for Christmas as well. Joint present for my parents, for me and Mike. One of those. It's like a Le Creuset pot with the top, but it's a Perderno one. But it looks exactly the same as those. Yeah. And Mike made short ribs in it, and then he made bread one day, and he just woke up. He's like, I'm going to make bread. I'm like, what? Okay. And then I'm like working, and then it starts to smell so good in my house. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. And that's my kryptonite. Bread is my kryptonite by far. It was so good. And then I had a sandwich on it the next day. So good.
Yeah, homemade bread is just another level. Like,
oh yeah,
it's another.
It totally
level.
is.
Yeah. So I had so much sourdough, and then I made an egg bake with it. I have so much, and I'm so excited to use it in like everything. So
that's what you had in the picture of the Discord channel. Was that egg bake? Was it?
Yeah. So I made an egg bake, and I usually don't put bread in my egg bakes if I do one for the week, but I saw. Now my algorithm like knows, and so it's been sending me all these sourdough recipes, and I'd never thought to do an egg bake, but I used only a quarter of my loaf because I don't make like a big pan. I only use like maybe like an 8x8 because it's just me eating it, and so I let it sit overnight, and I baked it this morning, and I'll like never not put it in now. It's so good. It's so good. So, yeah, I'm excited to continue down the rabbit hole. And then people are also, there's so many recipes for leftover starter. People make like cheddar, like the Red Lobster cheddar bay biscuits with it. You can make waffles or pancakes or crackers. And I mean, there's a million things to do, even if you just want to utilize some of your leftover starter. So, yeah, like I just need a bigger oven so I can cook more loaves at one time. So.
Yeah, true. Well, our oven, when Mike made the short ribs, the pot was so heavy and the short ribs were so full in it. He ended up putting the second rack up just under the first rack because it started the bow.
Oh no!
Because it was so heavy. It's like, oh God. But it turned out so good.
Good cookware changes you. Like I've had my Dutch oven, like my Le Creuset Dutch oven. That was a gift from my parents that they got through Costco. And they gifted me that when I graduated university and moved to Montreal to start my life with Pascal. And that thing is fucking trucking. And every Christmas, my brother borrows it because he makes also homemade bread. But he makes the artisan bread, which is basically the shortcut to a sourdough, where you put water, flour, and a bit of yeast, and you let that like sit for a day.
Yeah,
and then
that's what Mike did.
Yeah.
Poolish, yes, a poolish. That's what he does. And where you preheat like the Dutch oven. Yeah, even if I'm not home, he's just texting me. Can I go up and take your? I'm like, yeah. And both his Le Creuset and my Le Creuset they're looking well used, well seasoned, but they are holding on. Like the brand you got, Leah's just as good. Honestly,
it's the same thing. I mean, it's a Le Creuset. It's a brand name. You know what I mean?
It's the
same thing. Looks exactly the same. Cast iron coated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it
mine's
just
is bright blue too, so it looks good in our stuff.
Yeah. Anyway,
cool.
I got more kitchen stuff than gaming stuff.
Oh, okay. I managed to get a few gaming things. Mike gave me a new keyboard and mouse, which I desperately need. They're Corsair ones. I am getting used to not having a numpad now. I love the slim form factor of this keyboard, but no numpad is weird. And I got frustrated after our last podcast because my microphone was starting to die and bought a new one. So that's why I sound different.
You sound so good,
you
honestly.
You sound amazing.
I love it. Thanks. So yeah, I picked up the Shure MV7 Plus podcast microphone. Still, I'm running into some issues with the software that gives it all the like bells and whistles when it's connected to USB. It installs, but then it won't run. So I gotta question out with Shure about that. They released their new version of their software on on January 2nd. So I was like, that seems really weird that they put that out like right away.
Yeah,
but yeah. So my team doesn't have any sprint releases right now, but here we are. It works for what I'm doing right now, but I can't wait to play with it with all the spiffy controls that you have inside the I think it's called Motive Mix. But you can I know we were talking about the fact that I can plug this one off pre-podcast. We were talking about the fact that I can plug this in XLR and USB. I can also plug this into my iPhone and use this thing on my iPhone.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Through the USB or through the jack?
Yeah, because my phone is USB.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, new iPhone, right? The 15s and up are USB. So
yeah. Welcome to what Androids have had for a long ass time.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to trying that out and seeing how that goes.
That's cool.
Other topics, things that we've been trying to get organized because this is the beginning of the year, is the Fantasy Critic.
Yes.
So just a word of programming note. Next week will be our podcast draft, where we're going to do it between the three of us. But if you'd like to take part in the community draft as we are kicking off the 2025 season, it is still open. If you hear this before Sunday, January 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you'd like to join in, do drop by Girls on Games Discord channel, discord.me/Girls on Games. We're in there. You can join in, pick your publisher name, and we'll be off to the races at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, January 12th, going through the process of doing our draft. We are adding a new rule this year, which we haven't had in previous years, called the Super Drop. It allows a player to drop any one of their games immediately, no questions asked, even if a game is already released, even if it's been counterpicked, even if it is a counterpick. You also don't need to wait to drop the process on Saturday. It happens immediately instead. This mechanic is intended to help players that have fallen far behind in their league. League managers can decide to grant a player a super drop manually using the edit publishers option. Oh, there's more things about this. But essentially, it gives us the opportunity to drop a game if a game totally bombs or you counterpick something and it did super well and you've got choices. Because I found that last year that definitely took the wind out of some players' sails to have that happen to them. As someone who had it happen real bad in the community draft, but did perfectly fine in our draft. So I think it'll just make it a little bit more fun for people.
Yeah.
So yes, we're doing that in both of our leagues. So we both have the opportunity to do that in the podcast recording league itself and the community league. And Kat and Joelle, you're jumping in, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
The community league.
Now that I've had 2 years to understand how it works, I don't know how involved I'll be in the community one, but I want to try my hand at being in a league with 15 other people versus just the three of us, where it just kind of goes one of either way. I feel like for the past 2 years, we've had somebody take the lead and just run away with it. So the super drop will be interesting in terms of not the community one. The community one, there's always people at one point between Pat and Darth, it was pretty tight. And eventually, Darth overtook it.
But if I had the super drop last year to drop my counter pick of Elden Ring, because I had gone on the fact that I didn't think the DLC was going to come out, I would have done better than I had done.
Exactly.
I would have dropped Dragon Age.
And folks would have dropped Golem. Was it? Oh, no, not Golem. What was it? What was the other one that really bombed last year? Foam Stars.
No,
there's a bunch that people would have it's just it just, and especially if it happens early in the year, it just takes the wind out of your sails. So I really like the idea of it being more inclusive in that sense, right? To give everybody a mulligan.
Yeah,
basically, yeah. Because I think once you start once you take that hit early in the year and you never recover from it, it can be,
Yeah. We have also installed a bot in the Discord channel that's in a channel that only those of us that are in the Fantasy Critic can see. That's going to help also remind people what's been bid on, how to do, what's potentially up for release if any dates change. And then for me, going to report on it every week in the podcast, instead of me having to go in and do the math myself, it'll be much easier to have the bot pull it up for me and see what released and who picked it up and points gathered and all that kind of stuff as a summary. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be fun. Looking forward to Sunday. It's always a good time with us kind of chit-chatting around doing the draft. And we're, depending on how many people end up joining, I think we're at like 14. How many people are we at right now? I don't even remember.
I think there's 15,
quite a
but
bit.
we have 3 players that still have to set up their publishers.
Yeah,
to be included.
and then if anybody else joins, so we might, it might be a shorter roster for the community league than the podcast league. So just to make it easier, because there's only so many games, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Video games. Ones that we've been playing over the holiday break. Catherine, before we took our little holiday hiatus, you mentioned that you were going to go on a journey and play through the Dragon Age series.
Yes.
Up until so that you could replay Veilguard again with another, because you had finished Veilguard, decided you want to go through. How is that progress going?
I started and finished
Wow.
Dragon Age Origins.
Good for you.
Played that shit on the easiest mode because I did not want to fuck with the crafting system. I did not want to fine tune my inventory. I did not want to worry about Alistair's build to make sure that he was the perfect tank. If not, we were getting one-shotted. I went on vibes and it worked for me. I did look up a build for my main character. I played an Elven Mage. I went for a quote-unquote Paladin build where you do the Spirit Healer and the War Mage. I forget the name. It's the specialization that lets you fight with melee weapons. So you have that at the end of that, the Spirit Healer specialization. You have the Cleansing Aura, where it's literally a Paladin aura. Like if you play D&D, you just kind of like pulsate healing around you. The thing though is I was fighting with Alistair because I fell for his puppy blue eyes, and he's a Templar, and when there are mages around and he fights mages, he uses his Templar power to suppress them. So he would dispel my shit all the time, and I was like, if I were playing on Nightmare, this would be an issue. However, I'm just like, I'm playing on easy. I'm just like, I'll just reactivate my aura. It's fine. But yeah, it was a wild ride. Definitely old game old. But in true BioWare fashion, amazing story, amazing characters. I now understand where I'm in a game dev Discord. Somebody from BioWare has said that the original Dragon Age was a spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate, because if I remember correctly, Baldur's Gate 2 was done by BioWare. I'm not sure if they did Neverwinter. That might have been Obsidian. Anyway, they were like, they lost the license to Baldur's Gate, or, D&D was like, we're not making another game right now. So they did Dragon Age as a spiritual successor, and now I see it. And I'm also like, now I'm reconnecting the dots, like in Dragon Age Origins, you have a character, an elf assassin, who's of the Antivan Crows, who's sent to off you. I'm just like, Lucanus? Is that you? So yeah, and they talk about other areas. You're in Ferelden in Dragon Age Origins. I forget where you are in Inquisition. But they talk a lot about the original sin, which is the Tevinter mages entering the Fade and causing the creation of the Darkspawn and causing the First Blight and everything. And you're a Grey Warding and you're starting the First Blight in 100 years. And some of the choices you make have impacts, and it changes your world state. So I don't know, because I think they've taken offline all the servers that control the world state and everything. You had the keep, the Dragon Age keep, where you could keep track of your choices And it would have, you could keep track of your worlds. I think they've put that offline, or they disconnected it from the games. Anyway, when I was playing on Xbox, it was like, it kept, every time you launched a game, it wanted to connect to the Dragon Age servers, and it said they weren't available. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like they took that old ass stuff offline. So I'm going to see how it goes for Dragon Age 2, if I have to manually input it, if I'm going to stick to the choices I made in Dragon Age Origins, or if I want to see if I can make a perfect world state. But I think what I'm just going to do is do a bit like I did for Mass Effect, and is just to keep my choices going the whole way through. It's just Mass Effect was a remake, right? It was the Legendary Edition. Mm-hmm. So you could play all 3 games, even keep your shepherd.
Yep.
You didn't have to rebuild him or her
Nope.
every time. So this, I have to like go in EA Play and manually download the games. So I remember, like when I launched Inquisition the first time I played, I didn't have a world state. So they were like, do you want to use the default, or would you like to input like key choices that would have been made in those games? So I'm thinking when I'm going to launch Dragon Age 2, which I installed last night, because I finished Dragon Age like last night at 8:45 p.m. So it is fresh. I started the install for Dragon Age 2, so I'll see once I launch it if I have to manually do it. So I'm going to try to keep my canon going. Spoiler alert, rip Alistair. I fell in love with the boy. I made him king. He decided to kill the archdemon, and he is no more. And yeah. I got my heart broken like the first time I played Inquisition and decided to romance Blackwall. Could have been worse. I could have romanced Solus.
Yeah. Well, we all fall into that trap. I think.
Those fucking games and them breaking my heart. Oh, I wonder if there's a heartbreaking romance in Veilguard, if they kind of move that.
I don't want to spoil it, but there definitely is.
Right.
Yeah, if you really early on. Yeah. So, because I experienced it. So, yeah. I won't say anything because I don't want to.
Okay, yeah, because that one's new enough. Like, I'm going to talk.
It's new enough soon,
like, if you're like, oh, you're spoiling Dragon Age, it's from 2008. Like, it's an Xbox 360 game.
Yeah. While Veilguard, people probably got it for Christmas and things like that.
Yeah, it came out in October.
I know.
Started during Christmas. Yeah,
and my friend actually texted me. He got it like in November, because it was already on sale through the Steam sale or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no point in buying day one full price unless you're like a fangirl like me. And I was like, I don't want to wait. Played this.
Yeah, well,
so
I don't mind.
I know I'm going to get.
Mind,
yeah, there's stuff I know I'm going to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
He wasn't sure. He was on the fence. He has young children. He doesn't have a lot of time to play games. So he's more like selective in what he plays because he doesn't have a lot of time to play. And a lot of his gaming time is dedicated to playing with his friends. They're deep into Raven's Watch. Right now they started, like a lot of them started playing Helldivers 2. So he was like, so he was talking to me about it, asking a question. I could tell he was on the fence. When he saw it for sale, like at 25% off, he got it because he was like, oh, I kind of want to play this now. I was like, pays to wait. I'm like, you could have waited till next year and gotten it for when it gets a permanent price drop or something, or it trickles down to EA Play, but I don't think he has a subscription of some sort. So, that's what I did. That was my game 1 of 4 to my plan of my Dragon Age brain rot. Let's see if I can make it through the whole thing. But I think I will, because I powered through what I had already played in Origins because I got stuck because my build was not optimal because I was playing a warrior. Rip. And I kind of gave up on that. So when I replayed this, everybody was like, just play a mage and blast through the game. And that's what I did. And I was like, it's so unbalanced. But Dragon Age 2 is probably going to be a slower go because I never played it. Okay. Inquisition I finished twice. From top to bottom, twice. So I think Inquisition's going to go fast.
Yeah.
I think, because the thing is, like I said, for Veilguard and for Origins, I did some of the same thing, sitting there with a choice and just being like, which one? Mm-hmm. For Inquisition, I'm going to be like, the Templar. No, the mages. Fuck this guy. Like, I'm going to be...
No indecisiveness.
Yeah, and I think for Veilguard, my plan is just going to be, I did this time I'm doing that. So I think those two games are going to go probably faster. But now I get to play Dragon Age 2 for the first time, which I don't know if it's also a 360 game.
I think it is.
I think so, because Dragon Age Inquisition was on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
I want to say, and I think they skipped a generation with Veilguard.
Yeah, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because, like, at one point I was Googling shit about quests. Mm-hmm. And it, you end up on the GameFAQs forum or on the Steam forums. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing posts from, like, 2010, 2013, 2014, and, like pre-Inquisition sometimes. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, hey, how's this going to affect the canon and, the other games? And they're talking about Dragon Age Inquisition 3. They're basically theory crafting what's going to happen in Inquisition because it hadn't been announced. There was no name. They were like, of course they're making a Dragon Age 3. And I'm just like, oh my God. You sweet summer child. None of it happened. And some of them was like, you could tell they were big fanboys because they were talking like this lead writer and his team. I'm like, was fired, or left after like the Me Too movement. And I'm just like, some of these names are like, okay, yeah, these people left after getting crunched or squeezed out from the toxic work environment. Some of the names I was like, those are in the Whisper Network. I was just like, oh, this is awkward. This is very awkward as a game dev in 2024, reading them like, if they stick with this thing and blah, 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 because this dude decided, I'm like, this dude is gone.
Yeah.
This dude hasn't worked at BioWare or EA in fucking a decade. I ended up being in internet archives of these Reddit posts and these GameFAQs forums and some of these Steam posts, and I was just like, yeah, okay, this is interesting. So do I make Alistair King or not? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I was just like, man, this is my game. I decide what I want to do. There's no perfect game state or whatever. It's very clear that like somebody's not surviving this.
Who to sacrifice?
Unless I make an actual pact with the devil. Anyway, join me in 2025 for my Dragon Age brain rot.
And I guess you start tonight, or you start the weekend for Game 2?
Probably Thursday. I forget if maybe tomorrow. I forget if tomorrow if I have a session of Numenera. Okay. I should ask my game master, aka Pascal, if we're playing. No, I don't get to start tomorrow. Okay. Anyway, all I'm going to have time to do on a weeknight is just make my character. To be honest, even if the game is old, if you give me customize, I will look at every fucking option.
Yep.
Every option down the line.
You must.
Yep.
Joelle, what'd you play?
Well, to continue on the Dragon Age conversation, I did finish the Veilguard. On Christmas Day, I finished the Veilguard. And I thought the ending was like phenomenal. The end game sequence, it's long. It is long, so you better. It's over for me. It was over 2 hours.
Pack a lunch.
Yeah, like you need a snack. You need beverages. Like you're gonna have to take a few breaks.
You gotta hydrate.
You gotta stand up.
You gotta hydrate through that shit.
Yeah,
like I thought it was me because I was like, that took almost like, I was like, why did it take like 2.5 hours? Like I know can be slow at combat sometimes because I'm like, I get overwhelmed, but I was like, no, it's beefy.
It is and it is like, it is a ride. You know, it is really good. But I was like, this is a long end game. So just buckle in and get ready. And for sure, make sure that you feel very confident in all of your, in-world choices before you start. Because like Kat had said, it is really obvious when you're going to start it. It'll tell you, like, hey, you're going to do this. You can't change. You're not going to be able to go back and do any side quests or anything. So just feel ready for whatever ending you're going to get. If you have any sort of lingering suspicions or like, oh, well, maybe I should do that, just go do it and then come back and finish. And I think I got the best ending because I almost completed all the side quests. I did a lot, and I think I got the best ending, and I'm really happy that I did. And I thought it was great. I somewhat understand why people are a little cranky at the game, and it's not Dragon Age. Because at first I didn't sure I understood, and then on some level I see it, then on another level I don't, because it's still amazing and great, and I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. I can't wait to play it again. I'm going to be a total asshole though, and I'm really excited about that because
yes,
I was a true hero this time around, and I can't wait to experience what it's like when I do terrible things. So
that's the beauty of games like Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age. You can replay and be a completely different person.
Yeah, and just suffer through the game.
I gotta say, I also love the ending, as much as Echoes of Wisdom was disappointing. This one was you want an epic final battle?
Yeah.
You want fucking all-out war?
Yeah.
You want, this is what we're, given. I was like, damn. And for me...
Yeah, you want storylines to wrap up in a significant way for all of your characters if you've worked hard throughout the game to manifest them. Here, wow. Yeah.
I gotta say, for this game, it wasn't the best writing.
No.
For a Dragon Age game. I felt the pivots a lot, where I could tell where they pivoted mid production or whatever.
Yeah.
But story wise, actual story, just the bulk of the Dragon Age epic story.
Yep.
As I've just finished Origins, and I've seen even for Origins, I could see under the hood a bit at one point. I can't play a game without doing that. And it's Veilguard was no worse or better than Origins. It was just a Dragon Age game.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. It was a Dragon Age game. The writing at all parts wasn't great, but overall the story I thought was fantastic, especially if you've played the other games. And I thought that they were setting themselves up for the next one. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In a really...
It's only natural.
Yeah, in a really meaningful way. And also, I think paying homage to what's come before them, but then making a way for a new thing, which is really difficult to do.
Honestly, dear BioWare, I'm okay if Morrigan is not in the next one. This bitch doesn't need to be in every Dragon Age game ever. She can die at one point. It's fine.
I don't know. I think there'd be a riot if she died. But I didn't mind. I didn't mind how she was used. I thought it was clever. I don't know. I thought it was nice. I don't know. It's hard to. I think with these epic things, I'm just oh, that was nice. They included her. That was cool because they didn't have to do that. They could have introduced someone new, and so I thought that was nice. But so I liked it. I can't wait to play it again. I had a little bit of what do I do with myself now that Dragon Age is over? Because
Especially on Christmas Day.
it was so it was
Yeah.
all consuming, and I was like,
Yeah.
what do I do with myself now? But I did then. I took a little bit of a gaming break, and I did though went and borrowed Metaphor ReFantazio from my friend, and I did start that. So I am playing through that, and I played, I think, like the first 2 hours of Persona 5, and I had a hard time getting into it. So I was a little nervous about this one. And I will say I'm still trying to understand the combat, because they threw a lot at you kind of right away. And so if they've said that it's a bit of a steep learning curve if it's your first like Atlas game with this type of combat and all of what's going on. And so I'm still, I think, just getting used to everything, but really enjoying the artwork. Is stunning. It is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous game. The music is really good. I'm looking forward to getting further into the story to see how the story develops. So far it's kind of a lot, but I'm kind of pushing through. So I will yet to be determined, but I'm making my way. So
Cool. I'm curious. I feel like similar to Persona 5, I kind of want to watch somebody playing that a bit and just get my bearings. So I just need to find the right YouTuber to watch and play let's watch a little bit of it and then decide if I want to play myself. Because that's what got me on Persona 5. Was just seeing that, because when you're thrown with a lot of new stuff all at once, it's just too much learning. Your brain just can't compute it, right? It's too much all at once.
And these games are investments. Like, they're long.
Yeah, they're long. They're long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I played a lot. I felt like I was jumping around from game to game to game, but while I was doing it, I was like doing a lot of gaming, like a significant amount, because Mike was working. The times that I weren't down at my sister's place, there's just a lot of downtime, and it was just nice to like jump on it. Plus, Mike likes to race, right? He's got the sim kit, so like he's out there playing, and I come back here and play games as well, or play games on my iPad, or do whatever. Potion Craft, I'm almost through my second playthrough of that. I just got the last little bit now. The update did wonders for that game. It really did. Because at a certain point, the first iteration of Potion Craft, when it came out, you did hit like a grindy wall that was a pain in the arse. But now the stuff that they've added is just so much better. I'm having so much more fun. Coral Islands update. Holy smokes. So much like ease of play features that they added into there. They finished off the story. There's definitely more going on in there that I'm, just slowly making my way through. I started a new kind of save of that, just skipping through the story scenes that I've already seen and stuff like that. And some of the tips that I already know from the first time playing it around. Balatro is an addiction. Like an addiction. I bought my husband an iPad for Christmas. Mostly for like racing stuff, and so that he wouldn't be like always staring at his phone. He's playing Balatro because, like you said, Joelle, it was available on Apple Arcade, and he had it because we share a family account. He's been playing. He's addicted. He even said to me today, he was like, I love playing this before bed because it just like makes me chill out. And I'm like, wow. So yeah, he's been playing a lot of Balatro. I've been playing a lot of Balatro. And then yesterday, because I was influenced by the lovely world of TikTok, I downloaded and started playing Infinity Nikki.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Is the Sailor Moon game, Card Captor Sakura game that I never knew I wanted.
Is that a remake?
How is this free?
I'm really excited. I almost started that.
You should.
Okay.
You should. I'm like 3 hours in, but I'm enamored.
Oh my gosh.
It starts really well in bringing you through. Speaking of Persona 5, speaking of metaphor, it starts bringing you through the system very easily. But at one point, you're just inundated with the menus, and you're just like, holy crap, there's a lot. So I've been watching some YouTube videos to kind of make sure I'm understanding, like, what should I be looking out for in there? Because there is a lot. Like, you have this Pair Pal, which is like your menu screen is like something that each stylist has, and there's so much content in there for you to kind of look through, and like you need to go and find bits and pieces or patterns of outfits, and then you got to go find all the stuff to craft it.
Oh my gosh.
And like there's also the mechanic of, like, because it's a gacha game, about earning credit so that you can try to loot box get the outfits, but it's not as bad as other games is what I'm understanding, in that, like, it is possible and you're guaranteed to get stuff, and getting doubles of stuff is okay, because there's also like alternate versions of outfits that if you finish it one time and then you finish it the second time, you got an alternate version of an outfit. It's like it's open world, jumping, cutesy, art style is great, like, and it's free.
Oh, no. There goes my life.
Free to the free to the free.
There goes my life. You're explaining all those things where if I start it, I have to finish it, and I'm gonna have to do it, and I'm like, oh no.
I don't know if there is a finish at this point, because it's one of those games where they just gotta keep adding and adding and adding. I am really curious to see how this plays out. So I have downloaded on my PC. I've downloaded it on my iPad because I want to make sure I can, like, check it, and I need to figure out how to do the gacha part, so you check it every day and do your dailies and whatever else. Like, I gotta get to that point. But god damn, it's pretty. And Jessie J sings the intro song, and it's so good. And I'm just like, this is what I needed. I wanted, like, a cutesy, girly game that has the mechanics and Collectathon vibes and everything of, like, a Zelda.
Wow.
But instead, it's like magical girls.
Oh my god.
And you have superpowers, and the outfits are tied to your superpowers, and I'm just like, oh my god, no! This is gonna eat my life. So yeah, I was definitely influenced by the TikToks, and now I'm in it to win it. So be prepared to hear more about that over the next few weeks.
Oh no, I think I'm gonna start this.
Yeah, I also want to play.
Download it, and then we can share our codes with each other and be friends on it, and talk to each other as we're playing the game.
Amazing. All right.
It could be our post draft game sesh on Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Usually at this point in the podcast, we do walk down memory card lane. We had so much good feedback after the game night that we did for the holiday break episode, and the fact that I'm running out of ideas for Walk Down Memory Card Lane, that we're actually going to take this part of the show and kind of pivot it, and we're going to start, like, doing different games, and maybe not just hosted by me, or me as the game master, maybe Kat, maybe Joelle, kind of like we do a game night, just like short and sweet versions. So we'll get into that more next week, but just wanted to drop that in there. Walk Down Memory Card Lane will definitely be part of the mix, but, we're going to do these more, like, podcasty, radio-friendly games, but just, like, spice it up a little bit, do a different one each week, just to, change it up. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Topic of the show this week is Game of the Year 2024. You ladies ready to get into that?
Yep.
Let's go.
Game of the Year for 2024. As you guys who've listened to this podcast for, I don't know how many years we've been doing this now, we play such a weird and wild assortment of games and don't necessarily follow every single thing that comes out. The Game of the Year for us is often a very interesting endeavor. Some years there's a lot of consensus because each one of us, plays a lot of the same similar games. There's something that hits that all of us gravitate towards. But then other years, it's a smorgasbord of everything under the sun. Some big AAAs, some indie darlings, some hidden gems. a whole ton of stuff. And I'm not going to lie, last year was an interesting year for games. I know that I kind of looking back through what I played and trying to cherry pick my favorites was a little bit of a struggle because I played a lot of stuff that had came out the year before, things that I had missed. I do know for the ladies too, they definitely picked up on some of the bigger games that had come out over the course of the year, as you can probably tell from us just talking about Dragon Age. But definitely too, we're in a very interesting, different space right now when it comes to, what's available to us and what, we personally gravitate towards and want to spend our time at, being all, like, I don't want to say middle-aged, but
well, let's just be honest.
We're 40.
I've been saying middle age for the entire past year. Like I'm owning it.
I'm not quite there yet, but I
You're
will
not there
be.
yet, Joelle.
I will be at 38 in March, so we're rounding the bend.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through this process. This is totally our own personal, what we felt were our games of the year of 2024. We're going to go 3, 2 honorable mentions, and then 1. We'll go around the room, talk about what we liked, what we played, and just enjoy the gaming sesh. That was 2024. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies. I did try at the beginning of the year keep track of all the games that I was playing and what I wanted to try and everything. And then near the end of the year, that all went out the window. And I had to struggle and go look through Steam libraries and Xbox and Nintendo and PlayStation and my phone and be like, what the hell did I play last year? Thank God for this podcast because we write it down in every single episode.
Yep.
Sure do.
Yeah. All right. Kat, let's start with you. What was your third favorite game of 2024?
This is going to surprise people because they were probably expecting it to be higher in my top 3, but for me, it's Dragon Age the Veilguard. Of course, I waited 10 years for this fucking game. Of course, it was going to be in the top 3. What knocked it down was that my other 2 games had better writing. Okay. Or I felt more polished writing. They say in the mythos of Dragon Age that they were actually working on a MMO and they pivoted back to a single player experience. And apparently that's where the friction and maybe the where it started to burst at the seam, or maybe some stuff is less polished. It's the only reason. Because honestly, I love this game. I love the story. I love the characters. I actually loved the art style, even though it was like this uncanny, cartoony, like almost World of Warcraft inspired, but somehow slightly realistic look. I loved it. The hair. Holy shit. I'm not over the hair in this fucking game. But it was really just because some dialogues were like... I'm really nitpicking here. Because like I said, my other games are as good, but they just had slightly better writing. And just in terms of experience of gameplay, mechanics and stuff, I like them slightly better.
So we'll give it hair game of the year?
It definitely hair game of the year. Like if you're in a character creator and you're like, all of these hairstyles are shit and I wish my character could have long flowy hair that goes out in the wind, play Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Oh yeah.
I made a Canary and I saw the one long, like very slick back hair that went all the way down almost. And my Canary, I chose like the tallest motherfucker I could make, almost to their like mid back, like almost to their butt. And that hair just flows and everyone is beautiful during the cutscenes, sometimes over their shoulders, just a little bit, or going over the armor, moving, like maybe a bit falls over his shoulder as they move during because they're like gesticulating during a cutscene where they're talking this. And I was just like, beautiful. That's the one thing that, and I saw a blog post, they made that tech for the football game. I forget what it's called. The FIFA game.
The soccer game?
The soccer?
Yes.
Oh.
So the EAFC?
Yeah. They made that technology for the hair, like to have that many hair for like your cutscenes and your players, and depending on how many players, is just to make your football player look amazing. I guess it's to make like whatever the Italian player that had the long hair, to make sure the hair is as luxurious in the game. But yeah, they made a blog post about how they reused technology that was made in Frostbite for the football game. They reused it in Veiled Gardens.
Smart. The hair is fantastic.
It's because of football.
Thank you, football.
That we have the high fantasy hairstyle we deserve.
Thank you for sharing it with the
EAFC.
nerds. Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Joelle, how about you? Number 3.
To be a copycat, I also put Dragon Age: The Veilguard as my number 3. And if the writing, like, mid game through some characters had been better, it would have probably been my game of the year, because the beginning and the ending was so strong, and some of the plot points I thought were really smart. But to be totally nitpicky, I wanted to give it a credit and be in the top, but I just couldn't kind of give it more, so I also put it as a 3. But amazing game. Like, I recommend playing it. Not gonna be mad. Like, I know people, if you're on the fence about a Dragon Age game, I think this is also a really good introduction, because the crafting and the inventory system is really easy. Especially going into, like, Metaphor, I'm like, oh, I have to now think differently about all of my stuff. And I will say, like, I pick up items, and I'm like, where is it in my inventory? Is it equipped? Is it not equipped? Like, I'm having to go back to trying to figure out where things are and how to equip stuff, and you don't really have that with Dragon Age Veilguard. So I thought that was a huge upgrade. I love that piece of the game. I thought that was amazing. And then I'm also in love with my character that I made. I wish I could find him in real life. That would be amazing. He has blue hair. It is magical. So good. So yeah, I put it as 3.
Cool. For me, for 3, and this is where I found this year really hard, I felt that I was gravitating back to a lot of games that I had played before, but the reason why is because they got some really solid updates. I was talking about this earlier. Stardew Valley had the 1.6 update that came out and finally hit consoles, and that's when I started playing it. Coral Island 1.1, finishing the story mode, things like that. And then Potioncraft 2.0. I love that developers are willing to do that. They don't just put their game out and just, like, let it go. Like, they actually, like, listen to the audience, add more features that make the base game get better, and then also add on more content. Like, in Potioncraft, we got a whole gardening section and then a whole, extra map for creating potions. And it's just that, because sometimes you just want to go back. You don't have to think about new things. Mm-hmm. You want to go back and ride the bicycle you've ridden before, but at the same time, take it down another path. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm kind of putting that, and I couldn't pick one over the other. Right now I'm thinking Potioncraft might be it, but I'm just going to say in general, like, the updates that games have gotten, that some of my favorite games of all time have gotten, is really what sits at number 3 for me. Cool. All right. 2, Catherine.
Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. What a ride. What an experience. What a game. Honestly, reason it got knocked down from number 1, again, very nitpicky, is because that part in the middle of the game where you're in the cave, too fucking long. Like,
that was brutal.
It was brutal. But it was also, like, so pivotal to the story.
Yeah.
Just so important, but yet somehow dragged out. But other than that, like, it was just so gorgeous, like, amazing, beautifully written, beautifully acted. Loved having Senua interact with, like, people, having more NPCs, more characters in the game. Still a pretty short experience, done in under 10 hours. But a haunting experience, nonetheless. High anxiety without it being like horror or jump scary, but definitely on the edge of spoopy. I know it was hard for Joelle to play this game.
Well, I think I blocked that out.
Yeah. But another game I was waiting for a long time, and once I finally got it, it delivered. Mm-hmm. Big fan of Senua.
Cool. Joelle, number 2.
My number 2, we had to go way back to the very beginnings of the year to a game that wasn't technically released, but the beta version dropped for early access. I gave my number 2 spot actually to Hades 2. And I did that because when I was trying to think about the games that I had played and that I remembered because I had such a good time playing them, Hades 2 actually came up for me really quickly. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I had to remind myself, did that actually come out in 2024? And it did. The early access came out in May. And it was so good and so fun. The sequel that you can have high expectations for, and it exceeds them in all the right ways. So I'm excited for when the game actually comes out, because it'll be fun to see how they update and get the feedback, and you can play through so much of the game. So I loved it. I thought it was so good. So that's why I gave it to Hades 2 in early access. And I also knew that we weren't going to get the official game, for a little while. So I thought it was phenomenal. So I gave it to Hades 2.
I was on the same wavelength as you when thinking about number 2, Joelle, because same thing. Thinking back, what did I play this year? What stuck with me? What am I intrigued to play more of? And this one kind of came out of nowhere, but spoke to everything that I like about video games, and that was Pal World. Like, I forcefully told myself to stop playing that game because I want to play it when it's 1.0 release. I don't want to deal with the bugs and the trying to figure it out and whatever. It is the Pokemon game that I want with survival mechanics and crafting and base building. Like, let's just put it out there. Yeah, it's exactly what I want to play. And it Pokemon's so good that Pokemon is pissed off at it.
Yep. Yeah. They got a lawsuit out of it. It's so good.
So I'm curious to see where it's taken. I know it's still, obviously, they're still working on it and doing all the things and everything. It's still, people are still speaking very highly of it as it continues. But similar to like when I tried Coral Island for the first time around when that was in early access, and I was just like, okay, no, I need to stop because I know I'm going to hit a wall at some point. I'd rather stop now and wait for the real deal, wait for the live thing. And in that, like, I think it deserves number 2. So similar situation to you, Joelle, except mine was not a known entity. It just ripped off a known entity.
It was a great ripoff. Like, if you're going to rip, especially that IP, like, that's a way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go to honorable mentions now. I know we probably all have a few. And speak briefly to them. Because, yeah, when sitting down and choosing 3 games is often very difficult. And there's lots of good stuff that we played last year. Catherine?
Yeah, so I have 2 honorable mentions. The first one being Coral Island. I sunk a good chunk of time into that game. I haven't played the latest update. I did play post-launch once there was a few patches, but not the full-on content update that they've done recently. So I got to circle back to that game and finish it and finish my farm and get married. I had like 3 or 4 people that were like, looking my way. So love Coral Island. Honestly, like, I stand by my review that it's like, if what's stopping you from playing Stardew Valley is the fact that it's that retro 2D pixel look, you want a 3D good looking game, play Coral Island. It's based off an island, like, I think in Malaysia, yet it snows in winter, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it to you. I don't care. Just so I can have
I'll give it to
a pretty exotic tropical island, Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon type experience. I will suspend my disbelief. Fucking love that game. And then my second honorable mention, and the reason it's an honorable mention and not in the top 3, it's because of the end of the game, which I thought sucked, but the rest was amazing. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. The only downside of that game was the final battle at the end of the game. Everything else up to that, chef's kiss, like they say on TikTok, ate and left no crumbs. But that final battle was boring as fuck. Yes, but definitely love a good adventurous puzzle solving. Legend of Zelda is my jam. I was ecstatic to finally play as Princess Zelda. You know, and it's like, oh no, it's not Zelda. It's like, no, this is Zelda. You're playing Zelda. Amazeball. Love the look. Also, it's the same look that they used for the remake of Link's Awakening. Slightly better in terms of performance and frame rates than Link's Awakening. But yeah. Fucking love Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So those are my 2 honorable mentions.
Joelle, how about you?
I have 3. I first off had to give props to my girl, Princess Peach, for her leading lady role in Princess Peach Showtime. I really enjoyed that game. I played the demo, and then I played the full game, and I really liked it. I liked it way more than I was expecting. I think it's fantastic. I think, like, if you want something with, like, a fun story as Princess Peach, you know, it's a kid's game, so, you know, you're not gonna get, like, a ton of, you know, mental, you know, you're gonna sit back and relax and, like, you know, roll through the story. But some of the boss battles were a little tricky, but I had a great time, and I thought it was a smart debut for a solo title for Princess Peach, so I enjoyed that game a lot. I also had a fantastic time mowing down demons in Diablo Vessel of Hatred, the DLC. So I wanted to give a shout out to the DLC. I had a great time with that. I thought it was really well done, very polished, very Diablo, great story. And again, kind of, if you played it, I'm actually now very curious to see what's next for the franchise and where the story is going to go. So if you haven't played that yet and are interested, well worth your time to do so. And then how could I not give an honorable mention to my girl Aloy in plastic brick form? Lego Horizon Adventures was a blast. It really, you know, just gave me what I needed, that little bit of Horizon in a new form with that Lego charm. And I had a great time with the game, and I'm really glad that I was able to play it and get a review for it. So it's also a game that I would definitely dip back into and do another playthrough, or continue to try to 100% and go through some of the battles and challenges in the after the fact. So that was really fun. So those are my 3 honorable mentions.
Sweet. I wanted to shout out Garden Life, which was that gardening simulator that I played where you have to, like, cross-pollinate flowers and get different colors and all that kind of stuff. It was just beautiful and cozy and sweet. Then jumped over to Botany Manor, which was like a puzzle game, but similar thing. You're doing it in a garden, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that was both of those are really cool. I spent a lot of time with Dave the Diver, as I hadn't played it the previous year, but when I had gone away on my trip to Mexico, I picked it up and played a shit ton of that. That is a fantastic game. Potion Tycoon, another one that I spent a lot of time with because I really enjoy tycoon games. And then Traveler's Rest, which is in early access. Another kind of, management simmy with farming stuff. That one I think is going to be really strong once it finally hits full release. As I'm kind of learning and really taking in what my types of games are, I'm starting to learn that it's less and less the pew games and fighting games. I'm definitely feeling more of the sim nature cozy-esque with maybe a little bit more of a, if not a magical spin on things, a little bit more of a girlier spin on things. I don't know if it's just the state of mind I was in 2024, but here we are.
That's fine. Honestly, like sometimes you need different types of stimulation, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the games that I was looking forward to, I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed, didn't release. So, got pushed. But that's okay. All right. Let's go to our number one picks of the year. Catherine.
Well, my number one, because I got to play it this year because it came to PC, is Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition. Because, I have a PS5. Yep. I have a friend who will sell me his PS5, but he's out in Ottawa, and I didn't go this year, so I have to connect with him. But, got to play it this year on my beefy new laptop. Connected my laptop to the TV so I could play like a console pleb. And loved every minute of it. Loved the exploration. Loved the new mechanics. Loved the new robots. The new machines. The fact that you could get a flying one. And just exploring that part of the United States. Going to LA. Going to Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And how it is now according to that universe's canon. Mm-hmm. Loved it. The writing was great, amazing. My only gripe is Varl's story. Like classic.
Yeah.
Victimhood, but he will live on through his legacy type thing. And I was like,
fair. Yeah, fair. Yeah, that wasn't great. That was
everything else.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Yeah. That one I was just like, are you just wanted tragedy? You just wanted trauma for the sake of it? I don't know. That felt cheap, but the overall game experience and look was amazing. Loved the Burning Shore DLC. Sometimes the DLCs are like whatever. I haven't felt that way about both Horizon DLCs. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you can skip them if you want, but they add so much to the world building and to Aloy's character. I really enjoy them, especially like after the game's been out for a year. You can get the complete edition for cheap. Like, if you bought it and comes with it, like definitely play through the entire thing. And it's one of those games that, we were talking about, like how Velgard and ReFantazio, or just games in general, or how I approach my Origin playthrough, about how they have a lot of complex systems, and they just give you these lots of things to manage to basically keep you busy, keep you like engaged in the game, but all they really do is overwhelm you. I find that Horizon has the perfect balance of having a complex crafting system, but keeping it simple enough that you don't have to worry about it too much. They basically give you a array of weapons. You use the ones that you feel like using. Mm-hmm. Like you look, and even the progression, like you have the 5 columns, and it's like I'm I like bow and arrow. So I go straight into the bow and arrow. I go straight into like having a warrior bow and a hunter bow and maybe a sniper bow. And then you can just upgrade those or put little runes in it to upgrade. Like, it's pretty straightforward. And I remember sticking with a lot of my weapons for a long time because it didn't throw a lot of upgrades at you. Or it was most about like, okay, you got this weapon, make sure you upgrade that one. And then eventually you get further in the game and then they give you a new, like, so you don't feel like you spent a lot of time investing in upgrading something for it to be thrown away right away. So I always thought they had the good, like, a good balance of that. Of, yeah, you can grind and upgrade, or, you know, you can do a few upgrades and then you find a better one. And, you know, you just have to, like, and I would just kind of keep 4 key weapons and kind of change between them. Unless I was, like, fighting a boss that they were like, yeah, you really need that kind of, like, elemental damage or whatever. But I kind of kept it simple to just, like, bow and arrow, to be honest, and maybe a few traps here and there. And you can do that. You can very much do that. So I just think it was one of the games that offered a lot of depth and complexity without overwhelming you, with a great story, great characters, great graphics. Like, everything was good. Everything was fine-tuned and amazing. And it was worthy of a second game in an already critically acclaimed franchise.
Agreed.
Print it.
And I kind of want to go back and play it with all the DLC and everything in it, because I didn't finish it completely and love the first game. So I think maybe at some point, maybe I'll get the time to do that. That's another one that would be a great, like, play through both, one right after the other, because they fit so well together, you know?
Exactly.
The flow.
Yeah.
That would be a good, like, if you haven't done it at all, like, do that as, like, a book club kind of thing. Joelle, your top game of the year.
My top game of the year, everyone thought was also the top game of the year because it was the Game Awards. Game of the year was Astrobot. I can't argue with perfection and just being correct, because it was a fantastic experience and game. Just 10 out of 10. The platforming, the graphics, the music, even the story beats, the love letter to PlayStation, the love letter to gaming. It was so fun. It was a game I sacrificed sleep for. I had to finish it. I had to get to the end. I had to see what it was all about. It is fantastic. So people have been asking me, like friends and at work, and they're just like, oh, what was like your favorite game? And I was like, Astrobot. Like, immediately, it's just Astrobot. I wish I could experience it again for the first time. I look forward to having played it and then wait a little bit and then forgetting some of the things and then playing it again, you know, like to remember, like, oh yeah, this is how you do this, or oh yeah, this is how that happened. And it was just magical. So I'm so glad that a free-to-play game that was set to highlight the capacity of the PlayStation 5 and the DualSense, they just made a whole universe out of. So I am forever grateful. It was so fun. Astrobot, all the way.
Good stuff. My number one, even given the last battle, is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. It's the game that I started playing and it sucked me in for a whole weekend. It just made me think on a different level, considering how many Zelda games we've played and how many different iterations we've played in. You know, Breath of the Wild did that too. Obviously, Breath of the Wild, I still think is above Echoes of Wisdom because of the end battle. But, like, it just made you think differently. Mm-hmm. And this game did that too, but, like, spun it on its head, because you didn't have to... Yes, you looked for items, but you also had to think about what was in your arsenal to build with and to maneuver. and it really made you do weird, funny things. Like, who would have thought that you could, like, grab a hold of a bird and have it, like, essentially fly you across the world, or grabbing onto a spider and having it crawl up the side of a tree so you could get on the top level of this ice kind of like isometric top down claymation world that was built, you know, for you. And the developers actually intended you to do that. Like, they wanted you to go up on top of the trees. Like, it's weird, you know?
I used to do just a lot of trampolines, and you're telling me I could have done spiders?
Yep.
Yes, girl.
Spiders.
You could have taken the spider, and the spider could have. You put him in the right direction. You grab onto him, and it could have taken you on an adventure. And I did that a lot.
This fucking game.
I know.
It deserves all the praise. Honestly,
it does deserve all the praise. And the thing is, in that, I think that's why we're so disappointed with the ending, because the fighting battle at the end, like, and Zelda was given the power of Link for so long, and then to lose it, and then you were essentially like back in the princess trope because all you could do was defense in a sense and kind of let Link do his thing. That kind of gave a little bit of a disservice to the whole game as a whole. But like, that was an hour of this.
Yeah.
How long did I play it for? 20-hour game where I was just finding pure joy in finding things and figuring out what could I frickin' do with it to like try and break the game. Like, could I hit the world ceiling if I flew too high? Yes, you can. So yeah, I really enjoyed that game. And yeah, it was an interesting year of trying to pick games based on what I had played, and it was the one that legitimately hooked me in for a weekend, and I could not put it down. Every waking moment I was thinking about that game, and yeah, that's why I gave it my game of the year. Well, ladies, 2024 has come to a close. Next week, we will be doing our fantasy draft. The week after that, we will be looking forward into 2025 and what we're excited for. I was debating whether we were going to switch them around a little bit, but we need to get the fantasy draft in as soon as we can, considering games are starting to release. But, you know, fantasy draft is not necessarily what you want to play and want to win. It's more, you know, it's a guess, right? And what you think everybody else is going to think. So it should be an interesting adventure. Want to remind folks that if they want to join in with the community draft, it's happening Sunday, January 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Go to the Girls on Games Discord to find more. discord.me/girlsongames. We will be mentioning that, of course, on the website. Thank you, Catherine, for each time that you put together the show notes on the website. The website is great for going back and seeing all the things we talked about last year. Can confirm, did it today. It's super helpful for reminding me of things that I've done. But yeah, no, if you want to hear about any of the games and our thoughts on them, that we played them throughout the year, you can go back and listen to that episode. It's all marked down on what we played and summaries and things like that. So thanks, Kat, for always doing that for us. If you have the power to rate and review this podcast where you're consuming it, that'd be much appreciated. Why? It helps us in discovery, pushes up in rankings. Any comments help us build our show, so we really appreciate you doing that if you take the time to do so. And this is also the moment in this podcast where I ask the crew about their social media handles so you can follow them anywhere and everywhere online. Catherine, where can people find you?
I am CSDSBINS on X, Thread, Instagram, Blue Sky. But I mostly hang out in the Girls on Games Discord, to be honest. I'm trying to cure myself of my social media addiction.
Joelle, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at JoelleLauren87, on Blue Sky at Joelle Lauren, but always hanging out in the Girls on Games Discord. I also just wanted to give a quick shout out that that Games Done Quick 2025 is happening right now. A speedrunning charity event to support the Prevent Cancer Foundation. 24-hour speed gaming marathon event. They have amazing runners showcasing how to break amazing games and by the time this episode airs, you can catch the finale, over Friday and Saturday night. They usually, the finale evening, they raise so much money, usually over a few $1 million for the charity. So it's a really fun event. Go check it out on Twitch. Again, it's Awesome Games Done Quick. So I just want to give that a shout out.
Thanks, Joelle.
It'll most be likely on the.
Oh, go ahead, Kat.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to say it was going to most likely be on the Twitch homepage.
Yeah, it'll be on the. Yeah, it should be on the Twitch homepage. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And they're probably streaming it to YouTube too, so probably easy to search and find. And always they have all the. If you miss it, you can go back and watch the recaps. I am Leah Jewer on most social media platforms, but of course, you want to know everything there's to know about Girls on Games. You can track us down at The Girls on Games on X and Facebook. Just Girls on Games, no thought in there, on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. Discord.me/Girls on Games to come join our Fantasy Critic League, or to talk video games, or to talk food, or just hang out. But if you ever need to know anything at all, you can track it down at our home base. That's our website, girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Joelle. It's been another lovely week in video games. Catherine, I hope you have a wonderful birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week, or on Sunday, for those who want to join the Fantasy League. Or if you want to just come in and talk while we're doing the draft, that's cool too. But until then, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.